Hello, Jari. How's it going? And everyone else that just joined, have a very happy day. And if it's not happy, then I will make it happy because I got some really great stuff in order to share with you guys. Why would I give Jari a wrench? I'm never giving Jari a wrench. Jari does not deserve a wrench. My God, it's 9:30 p.m. What should I start with? Okay, Romania lockdown. Yes, it has started. The government is worried about my health. It's that time of the year when the government is worried about my health. Now, what's fascinating about it is that the malls were supposed to be closed. And I spoke with a friend and he went to the mall and I'm like, dude, like, are you crazy? Like, you can get a fine if you do that. You know, like, and he's like, no, I didn't try to sneak my way in or anything. It's just that they didn't verify my pass. The green pass, they call it, the poppers. It's like, what do you mean they didn't verify it? It's like, no, they didn't. And I look it up, right? And the way legislation works in Romania is that the law has to be published in a paper that's called the Official Monitor in order to take effect. And yeah, apparently they didn't mention that they're locking down the malls. So if you want to go to pay your taxes, you can't unless you have a green pass. If you have an appointment to the court, you can't unless you have a green pass. If you want to go to the mall, you can right now. Best lockdown ever. What the fuck is the government doing? You would think the people there are being selected for their competence, right? Very bizarre. The malls? What malls? I don't know what malls. But yeah, so it's very interesting of what transpired. I don't think like any other nation did something like this. I'm starting to wonder, like, was it done on purpose or was it done by accident? So weird. Right. Should we talk about the man? I think I'm going to talk about the man later on. Apparently, in World of Warcraft, I love this. There has been just so much censorship with this game. I mean, let's do a recap, right? So they censored jokes, they censored flirts, they censored art, they censored names of characters. Like, the only thing the developers know now to do is to remove things from the game. It's the best job in the world. It's like you look at things that are problematic. It's almost like Tumblr took control of Blizzard. And now they released this very interesting statement. And if you look at it, like, every single person is upset about it, right? Because it's ridiculous. I mean, the leadership in the company harassed women. What the fuck does this have to do with the game? Just because some executive can't keep his hands to himself, unless they're saying that the executive harassed women because of the game. Like, he was playing the game, he listened to the jokes, and he thought, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to squeeze some tushy. I don't know, right? But what I loved is, like, as World of Warcraft continues to evolve and grow. What growth? What growth, motherfucker? Like, people are playing Final Fantasy. You mean growing in reverse? Like, if my dick grew the way World of Warcraft grows, it would become a vagina. It's very bizarre. Like, growth. Like, there is nothing growing. It's barren. It's like it's been nuked. Nothing grows there anymore. It's too progressive to allow growth. Holy crap. So, was the executive name Hansi McGrabass? I don't really know. Like, I generally don't know what happens at Blizzard. I don't care. But what I do know is that they had a game that was popular and was selling, and now they're going out of their way to piss off the consumer. How can we piss off the customer today? What can we remove from the game? It's very interesting. Like, when the game was shit and people were complaining, they didn't address it. They carried on. Now that the game is, like, there's a little bit of wokeness problem that they're having with the company. Now they stop production on the game to focus on the wokeness. It's so bizarre, isn't it? It's like they care more about the woke message coming from their company than the actual product. It's almost like Blizzard is now a company that's supposed to educate people rather than a company that's supposed to entertain people. Again, when the game was broken, when there were bugs or people were upset because of some reason or another, they didn't stop production on the game. They didn't fire people. They didn't do any of that. It's only when the woke message was being a little bit disturbed, then, oh, we need to take this seriously. Hello, Razmaz. How's it going? I bet you thought I wouldn't notice you, but I did. Alright. Do I even have news for today? I think I have some news for today. I wonder if I can show this. Alright, so this is what the gaming press is doing right now. Are you guys ready for some peak journalism? Are you ready in order to get into the nitty-gritty of the life of a video game journalist? Listen to this. Every penis in Assassin's Creed Odyssey is now being rated. Ubisoft's vivid recreation of ancient Greece doesn't censor the artistic expression of this era, which is why we ranked its wangs. You know, I'm starting to think that if you did an article about ranking the boobs on statues, you'd have people freaking out. This is very interesting. Like if I were to get, let's say, I would have a troll farm. Did you notice that when the left is hiring online activists, it's called a think tank? Like they have a think tank, or they have fact checkers or something like that. You know, the sleeping giants, right? They're activists. But if I were to do the right-wing equivalent of the sleeping giants, it would be called a troll farm. Words matter, apparently. They do. They sometimes matter. And the interesting thing is that if I were to get, I don't know, 1,000 people on the internet outraged about the journalist objectifying men and blah, 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 they would laugh at me. They would laugh at us, wouldn't they? Because it is funny. It's hilarious. Like, do you have nothing better to do than to complain about a video game article? But on the same side of the coin, if it was an article that was ranking the boobies from League of Legends or any other fictional character, oh my god, misogynismus, oh, sexismus, you see? This is why women are getting sexually assaulted at Blizzard. It's because of the sexismus. It is what it is, I guess. It's not even about hypocrisy at this point. It's just like, you need to point and laugh. Like, you need to remember, right? Like, these people, the moral busybodies of society, they want you to be afraid. If you're afraid, they can control you. And if you're afraid, you give them power. If you stop being afraid, if you laugh, if you mock them, they can't control you. So laughter and mocking is what you constantly need to do. There is no accident that they went after humor first. The first people that had to suffer were the jokers. Just like in Lenin's Soviet Russia in the revolution, the first people that were shot were clowns. Unironically, like clowns in the circus back then were people like myself, okay? We didn't have internet, but they had an audience. Like, you would be a clown, and you would get people on the benches, they would pay you money, and you would tell them jokes, sometimes with political connotations. I mean, the art of the court jester was literally that, to say things that would normally upset and would punish the person that said them. But the court jester could actually say it. So, the comedians were very important, and this is why they don't like jokes. And you need to constantly point it out. And by the way, like the whole thing with hypocrisy, even if you have a priest that lectures everyone in the village about adultery and about how to live a healthy lifestyle and everything like that, people will stop listening to him if they find out that he is founding a whorehouse, right? Like, if he's taking money from charity and is building a whorehouse, people will stop caring what that priest has said. Like, there is a reason why people are fed up with hypocrites. And believe it or not, like, there are people in the middle, in the center. Like, I have shown to people, it's like, look, this is how the media was 1 month ago, this is how the media is now. And I actually convinced them that, yes, like, the hypocrisy isn't a good thing. I don't know how many people you can convince if you show them the hypocrisy, but if a person gets to see it on a constant basis, they might be swayed. So it's important to call it out. Because you didn't give me super chest rate, that's why. You're a very open-minded person. You're a very, how should I say, progressive individual. Yeah, let's put it like that. All right. Should I? You know what? I don't even know if I will talk about it. I'll talk about it in my video channel, but on my gaming channel. But apparently, like GTA is getting a remastered, right? I don't know why. I am so sick and tired of remasters. Like, especially with games that still have serviceable graphics. You take GTA, you mod it, and you can play it right now. It's good graphics. I mean, it's not like you're remastering Seven Kingdoms. Props to you if you know what game I'm talking about. Or Total Annihilation. Or a game that, makes sense to be remastered. No, you're remastering GTA. It's like, oh, how can we milk the customer a little bit more? And you know what? The customer deserves being milked at some point. Like, you are so dumb if you buy that game that you need to be milked. Like, or maybe you just have too much money. I understand. If you're making $200,000 a year, all right, that's fair enough. That's fair. You should buy the game. But if you're a person that is struggling financially and you're giving them money, you're encouraging this business practice, all right? Instead of them actually making something new, they're going to focus their resources on remastering games that were made, 5 years ago? I hope it was 5 years ago. Maybe I'm embarrassing. But it's not only that, they're also removing things from the game. I'm fucking real. Like the games like GTA, games like Saints Row, all of these games that were supposed to be edgy, the reason they were selling is because it was edgy. Now they want to sanitize them. If you buy this game, you are supporting this. Like, you are not only 100% okay with it, but you want more. Like, you want more if you're buying this game. I can understand if it's like a game that you really need. I don't know. Maybe you played the last God of War and you want to know how the story ends. Alright? I would understand it to a certain degree. I'm not unreasonable. Alright? I'm not an ideologue. Like, I would get why someone would make that purchase. But if you're buying this GTA, there is absolutely no reason for you to buy it. Zero whatsoever. Just, it's the same game. They're remastering and they're removing content from it. Why would you buy it? I don't know what they decided to remove, but they want it to be appealing to a more modern audience. I don't even know if a modern audience exists. I think they want it to be appealing for the modern critics. They aren't remakes, these are garbage demakes. You know what? I'll actually use that line because it's so good. It's not a remake, it's a demake. Yes. It's the same with the Resident Evil. Yeah, okay, with the Resident Evil 4, I allow you to buy it. I'm allowing you to buy the new Resident Evil. I'm not going to buy it because I don't have a VR headset anymore. The cat actually broke the cable. But okay, so they're remaking Resident Evil 4 and it allows for VR capability. There aren't that many games in VR. I can understand why someone would buy it. Fine. But what I don't get was why would anyone buy the new GTA remake? It's absolutely no reason. And yes, in Resident Evil, they're also removing jokes. The jokes. Killer jokes. No. Oh no, someone made the joke. Oh, Dave Chappelle. Oh, what a world we live in. Such a funny world. Please stop. The jokes are cruel. Why isn't the military specializing in making jokes, huh? Well, actually, they do. They pulled that general that I talked about on my main channel. My God, that guy. Wow. I love the thing that I loved the most was the pose in which he was making the shots. Again, it's like wind style jutsu, isn't it? Leading your back behind as you're fighting. Oh my God. And by the way, I understand I made the mistake. Like, semi-auto isn't pew 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 pew. That's burst fire. Semi-auto is pew pew pew. Okay? So I made this mistake. But hey, can I make a mistake? Because I'm not an authoritative source. I'm not a general. I'm not a specialist in it. Like, I'm just a layman looking at what he is saying and laughing my ass off. Can't you just replace the cable? Apparently I can't because it's very difficult to... Like, the cable is plugged into the thing. It's kind of difficult to explain. It's not like a plug and play cable. Like, the cable comes out of the thing. And I don't think you can buy a cable like that. And on top of that, I threw it away. I don't really have time to play games anymore, which is kind of sad because there are a couple that I would want to play. I think V thinks the GTA remake is the GTA 5 remake. Yeah, it's the GTA 5 remake. That's what I'm talking about. What about the lady that got made 4-star general out of the blue? Okay, so she didn't get made 4-star general. She made a 4-star admiral. And she managed to get a right-winger, a Republican, banned for misgendering, right? It's hate speech. Apparently, like, I didn't know this, but if you misgender someone, you also hate them? Okay, fine. Like, how does that work? Like, usually when I hate someone, I consume myself. It's like, I'm angry. But I can misgender someone in a calming manner if I put my mind up to it, right? Like, you could... But okay, fine. So Twitter banned the guy. And everyone is talking about, yeah, well, you know, First Lady, Admiral, Like, here's the question. How the fuck does a civilian go from civilian to 4-star admiral? That is the fucking question that people should ask. Like, how do you get... It's almost like being promoted from the janitor to the CEO of the company. I don't get it. It's like, okay, well, they have experience cleaning the CEO, the previous CEO's office. Because they have the lived experience of cleaning the previous CEO office. Now they can fit their shoes. Why not even like just a general? Like, can you dial back the promotion a little bit? Like, just general? Or like 1-star? Sorry, not general, admiral. Kind of the same shit, but for the Navy, right? Can she even swim? Like, this is something that I'm curious. Can she swim? You would think like every sailor knows how to swim, but can she swim? Has she even been on a boat before? Yeah, she was a civilian. Let me show. It's so bizarre. Like, she was a doctor, wasn't she? Rachel Lavine makes history. Yes, clearly a big step for mankind. I would say she made history for being the first civilian, made it to a 4-star general. Well, admiral. Fuck! Why do I mess them up? I even corrected someone. It's just like so bizarre. Is this happening often? Like, do you honestly... Yeah, no, like, serious question. Because I'm not in the know, but I would think, like, becoming an admiral or a general is a lifetime commitment. It's why most of them are old, right? So you go through the ranks, you first, you know, start... Okay, maybe you went to military academy and then you get a heads up. I understand. Like, you start as an officer. But still, like, there's certain ranks that you need to go up, right? And even then, like, you become a general and then, like, 1-star, 2 stars, 3 stars. Same with admiral. What? How do you just, like, boom, 4 stars? It's so weird, isn't it? Rockstar blocked people from downloading the old games. Everyone was trying to get them so they can keep running their mods. It's so weird. Why would the fuck would they do that? You can literally... you can find the games from a friend's house. If a friend has it, you can get their CDs. There you go. Leftists say morality is subjective, but then why do we have to follow their morality? If they say it's because leftism is superior, they're saying their morality is objective. Because they enforce it, that's why. They control... Well, actually, it's not that they control. They gatekeep. That's why. It's pretty much like in the 70s and the 80s, you had right-wingers that were like the concerned citizen writing emails because some commercial used the word damn in it. I'm not even kidding. I think it's like 1,000 Moms is a right-wing activist group. And they went after, I think it was Burger King, because it says, damn, it tastes good. So because it used the word damn in the commercial, well, their kids are now exposed to that vile language. So they wrote letters of concern in order to try to get the commercial taken down. So it's not a leftist thing. I think it's an Protestant evangelical culture that the U.S. had And now that they don't really believe in religion, they just have a different ideology. So to answer why you need to be listen to their morals, because of terms of service. That's why. Hi V, do you like money? I love money, especially my bank. Whenever I put a down payment on my house. China is building hypersonic nukes, but America can sleep tight knowing we have the General can't hit shit Admiral and General White Rage Millie. By the way, like White Rage, what the fuck is that? How is it different than Black Rage? Wasn't there like let me just hold on. I remember another interesting term. Yeah, so drapetomania. Alright, now drapetomania was considered a mental illness that American physician Samuel Cartwright hypothesized as the cause of enslaved Africans fleeing captivity. So, whenever in America, I guess, you had the masses doing something wrong, they would come up with a word for it. And in the case, like, why would slaves leave the plantation? It was drapetomania. It was an uncontrollable impulse to run away from their master. Preventable by regular whipping, apparently. The disorder was identified as a medical report. And, well, I mean, the experts came out with it, right? The psychologists. And it was like when the slave has a weird desire of wandering. I'm not kidding. Like, this is an American history, right? They don't talk about it on CNN. But they came up with the concept for it, right? Instead of addressing the actual issue, which was slavery. It was like, wow, this is so bizarre. This is so weird. Like, they just don't want to stay on the plantation. Now it's white rage. The fuck is white rage? Is there white love as well? Is there white compassion? Is there white empathy? Like, do they go through the entire chain of emotion? At least with drapetomania, it created a new word. Like, it looks scientific. Like, this is so lazy. Such fucking lazy cop-out. It's like, oh, yes. What if a black person was in the crowd? Was he also suffering from it? It doesn't matter. Probably yes, I guess. It is Vice City, GTA 3, and GTA San Andreas, not GTA 5. Okay, I see. Still, you're right. Okay, my bad. I'm glad to stand corrected. Vice City and GTA 3. I still wouldn't buy. It's like Gilbert and Sullivan plays HMS Metaphor, stick close to your desk and never go to sea. And you all may be rulers of the Queen's Navy. Man, why do you get from civilian to 5-star admiral? Oh, 4-star, right? Why not 5 at this point? No, hold on. Why not 5-star? Who had the 5-star general rank? I think it was Washington. Let's see. 5-star general. Oh, no. Like 5-star. Sorry, no. Apparently, Washington had 6 stars. I see. Okay. Why not 6 stars then? Why not give her a 6-star admiral? Make her like the George Washington of the waters. To be honest, Washington could have prevented this. All he had to do was to take the crown. You need to go back in history and convince George Washington to become King Washington. And then you can have the American kingdom. Wouldn't that be great? Like, all of this would go away. Just get George Washington to put that fucking crown on top of his head. And then you have the Washington dynasty. That's what I would do. If I had to have a time machine, you force George Washington to put the crown. Sail the high seas for Dune. Dude, don't rub it in. Don't you dare fucking rub it in. I haven't seen the movie yet. I wanted to go see it. Apparently the cinema was full. And now that I want to go see it, the government doesn't let me. Well, no, actually the government is trolling me. Hold on, it's trolling me. Because as I said in the beginning, okay, Romania has lockdowns. And they announced it Friday night that the malls are going to be closed. And today, apparently, The malls are open. And I look onto the paper, like there is this paper in Romania where every legislation, in order to take effect, needs to be published in that paper. It's called the Official Monitor. And apparently they don't mention about locking down malls. So the malls went, well, I know, like, the president said they're going to lock it down, but like, hey, if there's no law, like, we're not locking shit. So yeah. But by the way, you know what's interesting? Like, here's something else that I find fascinating about my country. Apparently they have, like they allow people with the green pass to go into the malls, but people without the green pass, they can't go into the malls. Okay, fine. However, I know there's a lot of vaccination centers in the malls. Like, you can go into the mall and you can get vaccinated. How are those centers going to operate now? Like, if you want to get a vaccine, how do you get it? Because it's in the mall, but you can't enter the mall because all it takes is an act of Congress to make someone a general or admiral. It also requires an act of Congress to remove a general or admiral. Okay, Crazy Loon, I get it. How often does this happen, though? Like, how often? Because usually I would assume it's an act of Congress and they make, like, what is under general? Let me look at military ranks. So, a major, right? Like, I would assume it takes an act of Congress to make a major into an admiral. Or to make a captain into a general. I hope I'm using the proper... So, let's look at... I don't know the army ranks. I gotta say, I haven't played that many video games. So, you go from lieutenant, you go to, okay, major general, lieutenant general. Okay, fine, lieutenant general, right? So, I were to think like it takes an act of Congress in order to make a lieutenant general into a general, or a vice admiral into an admiral. But you don't make like a random twat off the streets. And even then, like, I would assume that it takes an act of Congress to make a 3-star into a 4-star. Oh, that is brilliant. You know what? Like, oh, look. You know what I think the government should do? It should do mail-in vaccines. Like, why can't they mail my vaccine to my house, and I vaccinate myself, and then it gives me a pass? Huh? Would that be prone to fraud? Nonsense. Never in the history of mankind has this like, it doesn't happen. All right, there is no evidence of this ever happening. Like, someone having a vaccine mailed in, they did it, and then they get the papers for having done it. No one would be dishonest with this. There is no evidence. It never happened. And if you say it did, I'm banning you from my chat. You guys should spread the news. I just had the most brilliant idea. I want to patent it. I want to make it into a patent because it's just like the best thing ever. Like, you just order a vaccine and it sends it to you by mail. What could go wrong? Absolutely nothing. Nothing is more secure than the mail. Like, the posting things in is 100% secure, I've been told. Hey, if you can vote by mail, you should be able to vaccinate by mail. Think about how many people that, you know, they can't go to the place to get it. Also, only Washington is allowed the 6 stars, as no one living or dead is allowed to outrank Washington. Get the fuck out. You know what you can do, Crazy Loon? I'll tell you what you can do. You can give another star to Washington, like give Washington 7 stars, and then you can give someone else 6 stars. But even then, it's like, hold on. You can't outrank Washington, because if you have 6 and he has 6, you're not outranking him. So you'd only outrank him if you had 8 or 7. Suppository format. Do you guys like taking suppositories? Did you ever take suppositories? Did you ever come up with an assert and you needed a suppository? It's so weird. Like, doesn't it melt and it comes out? Suppository. I think I was a kid when I had to take some. I forgot that. Like, I don't even know for what, but I remember that I had to. Was like what, 2 or 3 years old? When does memory start? She should have been a 100-star general. I agree. If the ships are rocking, don't come a knocking. No one is on his level. I get the fuck out. What if you have like the Independence Day scene where like the president does kamikaze in the alien ship and saves the world? Would that person be able to outrank George Washington? Because like technically you save an entire Earth, like you save the human population. The number of stars are over 9,000. That's a good one. Washington turned down the 7 stars for 23 reasons. What about medical schools? You had to take the suppository exam. Get the fuck out. Yes, demanding proof is racist. An attack on democracy and mental health. I'm so surprised that the Babylon Bee didn't come up with that headline. That I guess it's a little bit too edgy for them as well, right? It's so interesting with Washington. Like, I think it's the only country in the world that has 6 stars generals. They gave him the star after he died, didn't they? I so hate the things when you get it after you die, because you can't enjoy it, can you? It's like, I don't fucking care what happens after I die. Although imagine, right? Because I'm making YouTube videos and they get preserved in the archive. Like maybe 100 years from now, kids will study me in school. This is how not to do YouTube videos. Look at this brat. Low effort, high-pitched voice, 0 quality, and yet some people were listening to him. You know, this is actually reminding me of communism. It's like getting a person in charge that knows literally nothing about the business. Again, like, what does she know about being an admiral? Can she pilot a ship? Look at this news, alright? This is the title of the stream. What is this? Kremwurst? Do you want to know God? The Holy Book. TV. Do you want to know God? Isn't God supposed to have a little bit of a tan? It's very interesting. You know, like progressives always bitch about Jesus being white. But did you know Jesus is also Chinese and Japanese? Like every single country which adopts Christianity make Jesus resemble. Like let me show you Japanese Jesus. Like people do not know, right? This is how Jesus is depicted in Japan. It's almost like every culture which adopts the religious figure is going to transform it. It's what do they call it? Translation and interpretation. Yes. Now, of course, progressives freak out. Like, oh, they don't freak out about this, right? Like progressives, oh, this is so progressive. They love it. But why Jesus? They can't stand it. It's like, why is Jesus white? Whitewashing! They're whitewashing! Whitewashing. Okay. Next time you see Arch, ask him about Neoth. I think he likes it. Yeah, Senpai Jesus. Senpai Jesus. I love it. Okay. Let me show you this news, right? Your next power move. Stay ahead with data. How many commercials does this website have? So let's see. 1 commercial, 2 commercials, 3 commercials, 4, 5. A man was arrested as he demanded to go to prison because he couldn't handle his wife. So he was under house arrest, and he did for doing drugs for doing la cocaína, and he was under house arrest in Italy. I didn't know they put you under house arrest for drugs. But okay. And apparently, he broke the house arrest, went to the police station, and demanded they lock him up. Is he aware you can actually get a divorce? What exactly is the green pass? It's a piece of paper that allows you to go to the mall. That's what it is. That man sounds broken. By the way, here's a question. Okay? What if you are, I don't know, what if you're under house arrest and you get a divorce and you lose the house? Like, what happens then? What is the procedure for that? Okay, I got a super chat. Hold on. USA is literally communist in all but name. Their leaders use communist language when speaking to the plebs. You know, normally I would say no. But given the fact that now the government can just use the CDC in order to tell you, hey, you have a house, yeah, it's not yours anymore. I mean, technically it is, but you're not allowed to kick out any squatters. Like, if anyone is using your house and not paying rent, tough shit. Okay. So technically they can nationalize your house with the CDC. They can shut down your business and decide like what business gets to stay up or not. Like in California, you had this woman that had her restaurant closed, but literally next door, like literally across her restaurant, there was a movie shooting a scene and people were in the restaurant without masks or anything. So, is America communist? I would say it's more like National Socialism, to be honest. I mean, you have all the ingredients. You get the race ideology, you know, like some people are privileged, some people aren't, and you segregate them based on how they're born. And you also have the government able to go like, yeah, it's your business, but we can shut it down anytime, or we can tell you what prices you can set for rent, and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, it's getting more to National Socialism than communism, right? Because in communism, you don't have private property. Like, you just don't own anything. Like, you rent everything. It's not about elites. It's literally like a two-tier system. Like, elites is like Jeff Bezos, right? So, like, Jeff Bezos gets to have different rules. No, this is literally just some citizens are better than others. It's not even elites. Like, I don't think the guy making that movie was an elite. It was probably some twat in Hollywood. But people in Hollywood aren't elites. Zuckerberg is an elite. Jack Dorsey is an elite. Those people are twats. Are you excited for all the world leaders to meet the Pope next month to hear his new plan for education reform of the world? I didn't know that he does that. But what I do know is that maybe, just maybe, the most renowned international pedophile organization in the world, aka the Catholic Church. What? Yeah, like people are complaining. Dude, no, seriously, okay, I don't mind. I mean, I do mind, but I'm not shocked with the fact that a priest can booger a little boy, okay? Like, every single organization the size of the Catholic Church is going to end up having criminals. What is weird is that they knew about it, and they take the priest from one place, and they move him in another place, so that he can booger again. That's the biggest issue, alright? Like, that's the fucked up thing about it. It's not... And it's in the news. I mean, it's like the judge and jury found the defendant guilty. It's not a conspiracy or anything before anyone said. So yeah, like the Catholic Church, very disappointed. Frowny face. But maybe now they're going to allow the priest to get married. It's the most bizarre shit ever. Now, I know why they do it. They do it because they want the priest to be like soldiers. Like, they don't want the priest to get roots to a community, right? Like, if they go like, we need 5 priests in this place, like, they can just take 5 priests from Italy and poof, and they send them over to Vatican or whatever, right? So that is why the cynical reason, like the reason on the politics on why this exists. Well, it existed in the past at least, because that's when they made it. The biblical reason is different, okay? But the cynical reason, the pragmatic reason on why priests can't get married is that. But as we can see, I do think that their lack of promiscuity is causing them to do bad things. Because you don't see the shit in Orthodox religion now, do you? When's the time you heard the scandal in the Orthodox Church about anything even remotely as disgusting? It is for inheritance. Yes, as well. Inheritance. It is a good point. But no, hold on a little bit. In the Orthodox Church, you don't get inheritance, right? So if you're a priest, you finish the University of the Orthodox, whatever it's called, theology uni, and then you have to get married. And after you get married, the church will give you your church, so you can have like a monastery or something. Like they will send you to a village, and that's yours, right? But it's yours until you die, because after you die, the church takes back the thing they gave you and they give it to another priest. So, I mean, even in the Orthodox Church, yeah, you can get married, but everything that's coming from the church, you don't get to inherit. It goes back to the church. So no, I don't think like the reason they did it is so that priests can't own stuff. Vatican literally have a mural. It's called "Of Lucifer Ascending from a Place of Thorns," where the Pope appears publicly. Well, isn't that something that they reference to, I guess, the rapture? I was always taught the pragmatic reason was a failed attempt to keep out nepotism. No, it's got nothing to do with that. You can have nepotism even without that. It's a silly thing, because you can like, sure, you might not do nepotism for your kid, right? But you can do nepotism for a cousin. You can do nepotism for a friend. You can do nepotism just because you happen to know another priest. How has our affected the Romanian parliament? In very hilarious ways. So our is a far-right party, and because of that, it's very difficult for the other parties to have consensus because it bothers them. And what bothers the politicians makes me happy. There are more kids being boogered by school teachers. No, but like, if a school teacher is boogering a kid, they get arrested. When I will see that the school finds out that the school teacher is boogering a kid and they're transferring them to another school, then you'll have a point. It's not that it's an anti-Christian narrative. First of all, it's an anti-Catholic narrative. Okay, I'm not a Catholic, so I don't really care that much. But secondly, is, as I mentioned before, it's not the boogering itself. It's the fact that, okay, this guy is boogering, so he takes him from this church, puts him to the other church, so the police can have a hard time figuring it out. That's the issue. That's the controversy. Oh, Billy is back. I did the... I do admit in shame that I have not read the Federalist Papers yet. God damn it. One day Billy will piss me off and I'll be like, fuck it, I'll read the Federalist Paper. God fucking damn it. Tell that to the old female teachers grooming boys. Tell them what? The school isn't hiding them. They're not a mystery. You can find them on Google. Ara, sayonara. Do you think they do that? Huh? I still don't get it, man. Like, I still, like, I don't understand the female teacher thing. Like, just go on Google and look like female teacher sexually abuses student. And you would think that they look monstrous, like they have a grotesque visage. No! They're hot as hell. So, I'm struggling. When I was a kid, right? When I was 16, I was struggling to get a date. And I was doing everything right, but other kids... I know. I shouldn't say that. I should say that, yes. Horrible. Despicable. By the way, do you know why it's really horrible, in my opinion at least? Because it's the same, like, if you think about it, it's kind of similar to incest. Like, you can have an incestuous baby. Imagine if a teacher gets pregnant for the 14-year-old or whatever. Can you imagine? Like, people don't imagine that. Everyone looks at it and it's like in South Park, it's like, oh, nice. It's like, well, it's not nice. No, it's not. Like, there's a reason why there are rules for that. The church of the later day dinner plates got adult wives and boogle kids. What? I haven't heard much of boogering in any Protestant churches. It doesn't happen. Like, in any other church, it doesn't happen. And we can talk about Orthodox, we can talk about Protestant, we can talk about evangelicals. I know they don't have priests, but they still have like the version of pastor or whatever. We can talk about Mormons, we can talk about the Amish, we can talk about like literally everything. It's just the Catholic thing. Tactical droid, I agree. The teachers should go to prison. I'm not denying the fact. At the same time, placing myself back in time when I was a 15-year-old, there were worse things that could have happened to me. Let's put it like that. And of course, in some countries, that 14-year-old boy would have to pay child support. Motherfucker, it actually happened. Like, it actually happened. There was a case in America with a black kid, and he got molested by his female teacher. He was, I believe, 13 or some shit. And he got the teacher pregnant. She goes to prison with his kid. And yes, he has to pay child support. And fucking ironically. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yes, the law says that there is no exception. The law is the law. Of course the kid can't pay shit, right? It's his parents that's going to pay it. I don't even know, like, how do you rate? So, it's just like, again, it's to avoid that stuff, alright? Like, if you want the pragmatic reason. Let me see if I can find the article, actually. So, like, when I read it, I had to read it twice. Statutory rape victim has to pay child support. Okay, so let's see. We got more. We got the 17. There's many cases, apparently, if you look at Google. Oh, 13. Oh, here we go. 13-year-old. So, a 24-year-old man. Yeah, so a 24-year-old man who impregnated a 20-year-old woman when he was 14. So, he was 14, she was 20. Is being forced by the state of Arizona to pay $15,000 in child support and medical bills plus 10% interest, even though he was the victim. Although he had sex with the woman willingly and never pressed charges, he was technically a rape victim because under the law, a child younger than 15 cannot give consent. But the Department of Economic Security has a policy holding men in Oliva's situation responsible. By the way, like, I gotta say, like, the rules in the United States about paying child support are beyond unbelievable. Like, I don't know who managed to make those rules, but fuck me. Like, okay, let me give you an example. In America, from what I understand, if you're married to a woman and you're unemployed, you need to, like, well, obviously you don't bring anything into the household because you're unemployed, right? You're probably consuming, you're probably eating shit. Let's say she files a divorce. And in some states, after the divorce, you have to pay child support, but if you have no job, you go to prison. Because you can't pay child support. So you need to get a job. How the fuck does that make sense? At least in my country, it's the same thing, right? Like, you still need to pay child support or you go to prison, but if you have no job, you don't pay. Because the morality, like, the rationale is that even if they were married, he still wouldn't pay because he's got no job. He's got no job! Now, I just need to say, like, there are situations where, okay, like, it's a deadbeat father right now, but let's say he's crippled. Let's say he went through a car crash and literally can't get a job. Now, he's got some pension, okay, fine, but you're going to take that away? It's so bizarre. Or maybe he doesn't, let's say he's got an accident, and he doesn't have a disability pension, but he can't get a job either. Like, it's something that's not crippling entirely to get disability, but something that's also crippling enough so that he can't get a job. Like, let's say, he's got like some weird scars on his face and no one wants to hire him. It is so bizarre. Like, and the fact that there is no nuance to the laws is And by the way, like there was another interesting case, because usually, like these are legal loopholes. Like when the lawmaker makes the law, he doesn't think about these. The most bizarre one happened last year in Europe, in Germany. So as you guys know, like brothels in Germany are legal. And there's also a law in Germany which says that if you are on welfare, you need to apply for a job. And if you deny the job 2 times, you're out of welfare, right? So there's this woman and she gets a job at a strip club and she denies it, and then she gets another job at a whorehouse. And I'm thinking like someone had it in for her. Like, what the fuck? And she denies that too, so she loses welfare. I gotta say, that made for some interesting headlines. But can you imagine? It's like, okay, so you're a woman, you're on welfare, right? And it's like, well, we found a great job for you. You're going to what? Strip club. No. Like, can you please give me something else? It's like, okay, whorehouse. Like, what the fuck? I was like... This comes from the tender years doctrine. I don't know what the tender years are. Maybe Billy Blogs can tell me. Billy Odell. Sorry, not Billy Blogs. I confused the Billies. You found the story last year. It's an old story. Well, look, it's the magic of the internet, right? It's not like when I go to my grandmother's chest and I find something dusty. It's like, oh, look in the trunk what I found in the attic. An old newspaper. No, like on the internet it looks fresh. Billy, I need you to tell me about, what was it, the 100-year? Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, Billy, I need you to tell me the tender years doctrine, because you know the Federalist paper. Maybe you know about the tender years doctrine. What do you mean he wasn't paying attention? See, this is why you don't know that I actually finished playing Resident Evil, because I finished it and you weren't paying attention. I told my teacher my dad was a piano player in a whorehouse so she wouldn't know he was a lawyer. Divina, day by day, I'm starting to doubt that you're a woman. You know, girl used to mean in the 90s, it used to be guy in real life. I definitely think that your gender is now being placed under question. Oh yeah, the female hairdresser and the male robber. I know that. So apparently in Russia, I love it, Russia Today. This is an old one. I can't show this because it's nasty. So hairdresser turns robber into sex slave. And by the way, like, she's actually really hot, because I saw the... Now, look, a lot of people are asking, like, what does being hot have to do with it? A rapist is a rapist. And the thing is, like, when it's a guy doing it, you kind of think it's like... You usually see someone so ugly, and it's like, okay, this guy, just no one would sleep with him. He's a freak, he's a weirdo, you know, he's disgusting, right? So when you see a woman that's so hot, it's like, why did she have to rape? Why did she have to do it? Like, she could have gotten and get it for free, you know? Like, she could have done it the proper way, and she, like, no one would have gotten hurt. That's my point, right? Because with a guy... Again, it's not understandable or excusable, but at least you kind of figure out the mindset, let's see. Like, you kind of get the criminal mind behind the thing. It's like, well, he couldn't get it any other way. So he resorted to that. But the problem is, like, when you see these beautiful women, it's like, what? They could have just done it normally. Why did he have to rape the robber? Makes no sense. So, a hairdresser from a small Russian town has seduced a man who tried to rob her shop and then raped him for 3 days. The incident occurred on March the 14th. The working day was coming to an end at the small hairdresser when a man armed with a gun rushed and demanded the day's earning. The frightened employees and customer agreed to fulfill his demand, but the shop owner, 28-year-old Olga, was handing the money to the robber. She suddenly knocked him down on the floor and tied him up with a hairdryer cord. The 32-year-old couldn't have known that the woman was a yellow belt in karate. Olga looked to the unlucky robber in the utility room, locked the unlucky robber in the utility room, told her colleagues that she was going to call the police, but didn't do so. When everyone left home, she approached the man and ordered him to take off his underpants, threatening to hand him over to the police if he didn't cooperate. After that, Olga raped the hostage for 3 long days. She chained Victor to the radiator with a pink furry handcuff and fed him Viagra. She eventually let the man go on March, saying, "Get out of my sight." Victor went straight to the hospital as his genitals were injured and called the cops. Olga was resentful when she was taken to the police. "What a bastard. Yes, we had sex a couple of times, but I've bought him new jeans, gave him food, and even gave him 1,000 rubles, which is worth around $30 when he left." After that, she wrote to the police, claiming that the man tried to rob her shop. Both Olga and Victor now face prison terms. The woman could have been convicted of rape, while the man of robbery. Let's see. Let me see if I can find a picture of Olga. I mean, I can find pictures of her, but they're blurry. People are making articles. Olga Zajac, the world's greatest salon owner. Get the fuck out. This can't be it. Yeah. Dude. Nice. What would South Park say? Nice. Like, people don't believe it. That's why I don't believe it either. Yeah, there's a Futurama joke in there, yes. Like, people are like, no. Wait, you know what? I'll give you this. I don't know how Victor looks like. I mean, who knows how Victor looks like? It's not excusable for anyone under any circumstance. Look, Tactical Droid, I'm not excusing it. Alright? I'm not saying that she shouldn't go to prison. What the fuck do you want me to do? Do you want me to say something that I don't think? It's against the law. Like, she broke the law. What else can I say? The tender years doctrine. Small children are better off with mother. It's so stupid because, like, here's the thing. It depends from case to case. Like, yeah, sure, in some cases, yes, the children do belong with mother. In other cases, the mother can be an alcoholic drunk. Or she can OD or on various drugs. Or, you know, she can bring very dangerous stepfathers into the household. There are certain places where, yes, like, the children is better off with the mother, but in other cases where he isn't. You know what? She tried to rob him of her money, but she robbed him of his dignity. Do they have a picture of the robber? Yeah, exactly. That's what I want to know. I couldn't find one, though. Anyway. Thank you guys for coming. Hopefully you enjoyed the stream. I hope I managed to make you laugh. Nick Riquieta say that after streaming for 2 hours, the moderators stop paying attention. What? Oh, so if you stream like more than 2 hours, the moderators go away, and then you can drop rap lyrics. Huh? Is the woman who kidnapped Quagwa? Anyway, right. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow. Take care.